Part 1. The Anatomy of Fine. Welcome to Shadow Psychology. What you are about to witness is an autopsy of a living relationship. We are not here to examine the loud, dramatic deaths, the infidelity, the rage, the final slamming door. We are here to dissect the quiet killer, the one that leaves the body of a relationship technically breathing while its soul has long since departed. That killer speaks a single, insidious word: fine. And if that word has become the default language between you and someone you once loved, you are already standing in the ghost town of what used to be your connection. Fine is not an answer. It is a social algorithm, a linguistic white flag waved to terminate a line of inquiry. It has 3 lethal dialects. The first is the exhausted fine, a sigh masquerading as a word, signaling a depletion so profound that truth seems like a luxury. The second is the defensive fine, a sharp, period-forced stop that builds a wall where a bridge is needed. The third is the rubber stamp fine, an automatic, hollow response proving that the person no longer even hears the question. Each dialect shares a core function: to sterilize emotion, to quarantine vulnerability, and to maintain the fragile, desperate peace of the status quo. Your brain, wired for efficiency, chooses fine because it is the path of least resistance, a small betrayal of your truth to avoid the perceived cataclysm of a real feeling. This preference for the predictable ache over the chaotic potential of honesty is your neural betrayal. Your mind, addicted to certainty, will choose the hell it knows over a heaven it can't guarantee. The slow decay of a relationship provides a grim, familiar rhythm, a low-grade pain you have learned to metabolize. The first tangible symptom of this decay is not a lack of sex or a giant fight. It is the vanishing of micro-moments, the inside joke you both created but now only you remember, the odd cloud you saw but didn't bother to point out, the tiny, silent invitation for a shared reality that you now extend only to yourself. These micro-moments are the synaptic connections of your relationship's nervous system. When they stop firing, the body goes numb. So here is your first diagnostic test, a moment of radical interruption. Pause this video, ask yourself, and answer with brutal honesty. When was the last time you said a sentence of raw, unprocessed truth to your partner? Not, "I'm tired," not, "work was bad." Something like, "I feel invisible right now. Your touch felt like a stranger's," or, "I'm so deeply grateful you exist." If you cannot recall, if your memory draws a blank or returns only with a date measured in months or years, then you are not in a relationship that is fine. You are in a relationship that has entered its silent, genteel decay, and recognizing that is the first painful step back toward life. Part 2. The silent erosion of shared reality. When the decay sets in, the first thing to dissolve is not love, but a shared universe. Every healthy relationship constructs a private cosmology, a we built from invented words, shared glances that hold entire conversations, and a common story about who you are together. This is your relational reality. The silent erosion is the meticulous dismantling of this reality, brick by brick, until you are left standing in 2 separate soundproof rooms. Listen to your internal monologue. The most telling symptom is a grammatical shift. The language of we, subtly, irrevocably, is replaced by the language of I and she or he. It is no longer, we should try that new restaurant, but I guess I'll figure out dinner. Not our problem to solve, but his issue to deal with. This isn't just semantics, it's cognitive architecture. The pronoun we is the grammatical manifestation of a shared identity. Its disappearance marks a retreat into sovereign states, a quiet secession from the union. You become cohabitants of a space, not co-authors of a story. This fracture leads to the parallel lives syndrome. You exist in the same physical space, sharing a couch, a bed, a kitchen, but your psychic trajectories never intersect. You scroll through your feeds, absorbing different worlds. You watch the same show, but experience it in total emotional isolation. The questions die first. What do you think about this? How did that make you feel? You stop asking because you assume you already know the answer. Or worse, you've ceased to care about the discovery. The curiosity that fuels connection is replaced by the dull certainty of cohabitation. You are not building a future. You are managing a shared past. To make this erosion visible, conduct a stark audit, the relationship map. Draw two circles that overlap. Label one me, the other them. The intersection is us. Now, with brutal honesty, populate each zone. In me, my private anxieties, my solo hobbies, my unspoken dreams. In them, their irritations I no longer ask about, their personal projects I'm not part of. Now, look at us, what lives there now, mostly logistics, chores, and memories. Where are the active living projects, the current inside jokes, the future plans being nurtured? If the us zone feels like a museum of artifacts rather than a workshop of creation, you have your diagnosis. The shared reality isn't just cracked, it's becoming an archaeological site. You are no longer partners navigating a world together. You are two separate universes, drifting in the void, bound only by the fading gravity of old habits. Part 3. The Bureaucracy of Intimacy. At this stage of decay, love does not die in a blaze of anger. It suffocates under the weight of administration. What was once a wild, unpredictable force of nature becomes a well-regulated department. Spontaneity. The lifeblood of desire is outlawed, replaced by schedules, quotas, and unspoken scorecards. You are no longer lovers. You are co-managers of a non-profit entity called Our Relationship, and the quarterly reports are grim. Examine your calendar. Intimacy, if it exists, is now a scheduled event. Date night, 7 p.m. Friday. It carries the same psychic weight as a dentist appointment. Physical connection ceases to be a language and becomes a logistical or biological function, something to initiate, perform, or check off. The same happens with conversation. The "how was your day?" exchange is no longer an invitation to connect, but a data transfer protocol. You are not sharing experiences, you are syncing databases. The goal is no longer mutual understanding, but efficient coexistence. Beneath this calm administrative surface, a silent civil war rages. The scorecard mentality. An invisible ledger is maintained in the mind of each partner. I took out the trash 3 times this week. They only did it once. I initiated sex last time. Now it's their turn. I listened to their work drama for an hour, and they interrupted my story. This is intimacy as a transactional economy, where every act of kindness is a debt incurred and every oversight is a withdrawal. Love cannot breathe in this atmosphere of constant accounting. It withers into a series of obligations, a cold calculation of inputs and outputs, where the only thing being optimized is the avoidance of perceived unfairness. Conduct this forensic analysis. Review your last week of text messages or verbal exchanges. Calculate the ratio. What percentage was purely logistical? Don't forget the dry cleaning. What time is the meeting? Did you pay the bill? Now, what percentage contained a shred of vulnerability, playfulness, or raw emotion? A meme that says, "This reminded me of us," a spontaneous, "I miss you," a confession of fear or hope. If the ledger is dominated by administration, you have reached a critical point. The machinery of your shared life is so perfectly tuned that it could run smoothly without any emotional fuel whatsoever. You have achieved a terrible, sterile efficiency. The relationship is functionally operational and spiritually deceased. You are not partners, you are a competent, lonely board of directors presiding over the hollow shell of a corporation that once traded in magic. Part 4. The Ghost in the Room, the Unmourned Future. The most profound and overlooked casualty of this silent war is not your present, but your future. Specifically, the shared future you once dreamed into existence. It now haunts the space between you, a ghost everyone sees, but no one dares to acknowledge. You are no longer building a life together. You are tending the grave of a life you once planned. The deepest pain stems not from what is, but from the quiet, collective grief for what was supposed to be. Listen to your conversations. They have become archival. You predominantly live in the past tense. Remember that trip we took? Wasn't it funny when the present is a desert of logistics, and the future is a forbidden city. The old dreams, the cottage by the lake, the radical career change, the vow to learn a language together are now landmines. To mention them is to risk the explosion of acknowledging they are dead, or worse, to face the paralyzing question, do we even want the same things anymore? So you speak of safe dead things. Your shared history becomes a museum you walk through, pointing at frozen dioramas of happier times, while the workshop where you once built new exhibits stands locked and dusty. What holds you together then, if not a shared vision? Often, it is not love, but a consortium of fears. The fear of financial upheaval, of societal judgment, of the terrifying silence of being alone, of the sheer logistical nightmare of uncoupling a merged life. This fear bond is the weakest cement imaginable. It doesn't build, it merely imprisons. You are not choosing each other daily. You are mutually avoiding a collection of perceived hells. The relationship becomes a defensive pact against the outside world, not a creative force within its own universe. There is a necessary, excruciating ritual to perform here: the conscious mourning. You must, individually or together, dare to speak the ghost's name. Write it down. We once dreamed of moving to the coast. That dream is dead. We planned to have children. That future is gone. Do not rush to replace it. Sit in the void. Grieve the loss of that potential reality. This is not about giving up. It is about brutal honesty. You cannot build on a foundation of ghostly, unmourned aspirations. By performing this funeral, you achieve a crucial distinction. You are no longer paralyzed by a phantom future. You are facing the stark, clean slate of your current reality. From this emptiness, only two authentic paths can emerge: the concerted effort to dream a new, different future together, or the courageous, liberating admission that the project is complete. Both are terrifying, both are alive, and both are infinitely more honorable than cohabiting with a ghost. Part 5. The Antidote. Radical, uncomfortable honesty. We have diagnosed the disease, the silent bureaucratic decay that replaces a living we with a managed coexistence. Now we arrive at the only possible antidote, a treatment so deceptively simple and profoundly terrifying that it will feel like surgery without anesthesia. Radical, uncomfortable honesty. This is not a strategy to save the relationship at all costs. It is a protocol to save yourselves from the lie, whether that lie leads to a resurrection or a respectful death. The goal is not preservation, but truth. Forget the notion of one climactic "we need to talk" conversation. That is a summit too high to climb from the valley of silence. Instead, start with a single true sentence. But one irreducible, unarguable statement about your present internal experience, delivered without accusation or agenda. I feel lonely lying next to you. I felt a jolt of fear when you raised your voice earlier. I noticed I didn't miss you when you were away last week, and that scared me. The power is not in the content, but in the breach of protocol. You are dismantling the bureaucracy of fine by filing a raw emotional report. You are not demanding a solution. You are simply stating a fact of your inner world. This is vulnerability as a daring act of sabotage against the silent regime. To retrain your neural pathways, initiate the fine detox. For the next 24 hours, ban the word fine, okay, normal, and all their hollow synonyms from your relational vocabulary. When asked, "How are you?" or "How was your day?" you must substitute a true emotional or sensory word, however small. Try scattered, tender, quiet, energized by that meeting, annoyed by the traffic, warmed by the sun. This forces you out of autopilot and your partner out of predictable script. It reintroduces the unexpected microscopic texture of real human experience into the communication channel. It makes you present. This process of radical honesty will produce one of two outcomes, and you must surrender control over which one. Outcome A. Your partner meets you there. They hear your true sentence and respond with their own. A tiny, authentic connection is made. It might be clumsy, it might be painful, but it is alive. This becomes the first green shoot in the sterile landscape, a foundation to rebuild upon, not to the old relationship, but to a new, conscious one forged in truth. Outcome B. Your partner cannot or will not meet you. They deflect, dismiss, or retreat further into administrative silence. And this, as devastating as it is also a gift of clarity. It is the definitive diagnostic you have been avoiding. It confirms the decay is terminal. Therefore, the final thesis is this: the purpose of radical honesty is not to fix, but to reveal. It is the light you switch on in the haunted house. It will illuminate either a path forward through the wreckage or the unmistakable exit sign. Both are forms of salvation. Continuing to wander in the comfortable, semi-dark decay is the only true failure. You began this journey with a lie disguised as a word. Fine. You end it with a choice: to speak and in speaking, to discover whether you are still a we worth fighting for, or two separate souls with the courage to grant each other an honest and merciful end.